British Vogue, I wrote, "This piece is having a boyfriend embarrassing now." I know people have read the headline, they're like, nah. But listen, for this piece, I interviewed a bunch of women. I spoke to them about why they hide their partners on social media, or they like post very inconspicuously about them. You know, some people said it was about privacy and this sort of unique, special privacy that you only afford your romantic partner. A lot of people spoke about the evil eye and this idea that, oh, if I post my partner, then people who are jealous of me will somehow, through their terrible vibes, ruin my relationship. Some people said that they felt as if they were scared to post because what happens when someone comes to them as a woman, or what happens when they break up and they have to, you know, delete all the posts. And there's this whole feeling of like shame of having tried and failed to find love. And then there was a really interesting point that came across both people in relationships and single people. And this idea that like being in a relationship with a man and showcasing it to the world in and of itself was an embarrassing thing to do. And that's what I really wanted to get into. There was this idea of there not being a solidarity with other women. There was this idea of like a relationship just by default being something that rendered you quite uncool. I spoke about this podcast I came.
Before we even really get deep into the weeds of what she's talking about, let's just address how disingenuous whoever these people she's interviewing are, right? And I think that we're hearing a lot of cop outs, but we're not just being real, and we're not just really getting down to the nitty gritty. Apparently, there were women who were interviewed, and they had all these noble reasons for why they don't want to post the guys that they're with. Whether they say they're going to get negative vibes from people who will sabotage their relationship, or if it doesn't work out, they'll just feel so disappointed. But these are all cop outs, and these are all just simply not the real reasons why they're not getting posted. And it's far more simpler than she's making it out to be. If there's a woman who doesn't want to post the man she's with, then what she's communicating is maybe she can do better. Maybe she feels like she's keeping her options open and she doesn't want to hold you to the forefront. Because when a woman presents a man truly to the world, she can, she's kind of stuck with that man for a while. You can't just keep on. It doesn't necessarily look good if you see her with different dudes all throughout the year, right? As well as maybe that's just not a guy she's proud to post. But understand this: if a woman's really into a guy and she feels like she has a awesome guy, you better believe she's not going to be embarrassed to post him. When you see women that get good-looking guys with good careers and et cetera, oh, they can't wait to post them. They can't wait to post all about them. So we're not segmenting this and treating it with the nuance that it deserves. Women will post guys that they are really into and that they feel like a lot of people will give them props for posting. But I mean, let's say a chick's not really into you, but she's into the things that you do for her. Then you would be a great case study of probably a guy that she's not gonna post, but that she will still see to a certain degree. But let's hear what else she's got to say.
Across where they were talking about, is it lame to have a boyfriend? And they say, you know, when I meet a girl and she has a boyfriend, I automatically just kind of put her in a box or in a category, and I just don't feel as inspired or engaged by her. And then when someone doesn't, I feel like they have so much life and prospect, and they are just entertaining and fun, and I kind of feel empowered by their individualism. But interestingly, the girls talking about this on the podcast, agreeing with this idea that like girls without boyfriends are cool, are also in relationships themselves. And so I was thinking so much about how it is very uncool to be a boyfriend girl. It is very uncool to be a my man person. And I spoke to both just people who are on social, but also content creators and influencers about what happens when they post their partners, right? A lot of them lose a lot of followers, especially if they were already single. And this idea that now you are someone's girlfriend and you're posting about this is something that people automatically disengage from. I do it too. If I follow someone because they, I don't know, post their outfits and all of a sudden it's their boyfriend every day, I'm just like mute. I came here for a reason. But this is happening like across the board, and like just culturally, I think a lot of like the days of a man being a prize has really changed. It's really, really, really changed. And obviously this has come from like just the empowerment of single women in general, but also just how the trajectory of men and women are going in completely opposite directions. And now we're having to look at heterosexuality with the political lens that we've looked at other sexualities. And we really have to evaluate, if we are a part of this thing, what does it mean?
So you see how propaganda and the media can start to create things in order to create something? Because let's be very clear here. She absolutely has an agenda. And she has something that she's trying to push. And she's bringing up that she's spoken to all these people. Even if she has spoken to people who said, no, it's not embarrassing, she's not going to use that because this goes beyond her just being curious and having a fascination about a certain subject. This is something she feels strongly and passionately about that she wants to push. What does she want to push? I believe that she's trying to push that a woman being proud to be with a good man and be with a man that she's proud of, she's trying to make that to where she's discouraging other women from seeing that as something that they are fulfilled in and that they're proud of. And let's just go ahead. Listen, I just don't have the energy to be beating around the bush right now. Having a boyfriend is embarrassing. Why do we keep targeting things that are natural and normal and making them these controversial things? Really? So, a guy and a girl getting together and being at the beginner stage and starting to build something is embarrassing now. If you're proud of the fact that you're building something with a guy, that you're not just alone and by yourself, that's embarrassing now. But you know what's not embarrassing, apparently? Having multiple kids with multiple guys. But you know what's funny? You really cannot suppress the truth because it's always going to resonate. Because anytime I see somebody and you're curious and you're like, oh, you got three kids. Oh, okay. When I see a guy or whatever the case, and they're curious about, okay, are they all by the same guy? There's always a hesitation. There's always a pause. There's always, even sometimes there's a, that's none of your business. Why that reaction? Because that's truly embarrassing. You're not going to get people to feel like something that's not true all of a sudden is true for them, right? Next, they're going to say being being in proper shape and not being obese is embarrassing, but it's not. It's simply not true. So guess what? It will never stick. And the same with this. This is a fallacy. So no matter how much you try to push it on people, your agenda of now all of a sudden you don't want that. You want them to feel like if they're seen out with their guy, they're supposed to like hide and oh no, it's not gonna work because it's just not true. People don't really care. The reason you're so passionate about it is probably because the truth is you're embarrassed because you don't have a boyfriend. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to use reverse psychology to now make everybody else who is happy and in a fulfilling relationship feel like they should be embarrassed. But what it really is you feel like the odd person out. So now you're trying to push this and make that embarrassing. And that's embarrassing, to say the least, that you have to go this far and to this extent to try to shame other people because the people with boyfriends who are happy, they're not thinking to conjure up things like this because they're off being happy. But people who aren't happy have to try to get into everybody else's business and tell them why they shouldn't be happy when they are. And that's sad. Get a life. We'll leave it there. Like the video. Also subscribe if you want to join Limitless Legion. Cash app link below if you want to tip the channel and buy your more iced coffee. And also feel free to join the Patreon where I post self-improvement content on there. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video.